Oh, wow. Looks like Steve's ready to run out there. T-Rex, though, of course, is first. 1, 2. The T-Rex triple hop on what we call Tuesdays are good if you can get them. And that's something we started saying in the winter because we had all those late week fronts on Thursdays and Fridays, and it was so windy on the weekend and crowded at your ski area, but there was snow blowing around. And then finally, the high pressure system would come over us on a Tuesday. Now, in the middle of the winter, it was about 0 degrees, but the sky was blue, the wind was light, and the powder was deep for the most part all winter long. So that's where I came up with that Tuesdays are good if you can get them, because I often during my career had Tuesdays off when I was a weekend meteorologist. So Tuesdays are a lot of people's days off that work in different industries. And here we are having another beautiful Tuesday. Look at that school of fish right there. I want to rewind to about 8 o'clock this morning when I looked out the window and these birds were all just working. They were coming along the beach, and I don't know what kind of birds they all were. I know there were gulls and cormorants, but what are those little white ones that look like baby snowy egrets? Hawk. Just got photobombed by a hawk. He's still right there. You never know what's going to happen when you turn on out the door. Weather and more, there he goes. Shoot. So that looked like a sharpshin. Is that right? We do have, what are the names of those really agile hawks that they named the planes over in Great Britain after? Oh, I forgot. So yeah, we break for birds. This is a long form weather and nature program with pet dog, pet cats, and gorgeous, often off the charts Mother Nature, as Kenny Young was saying on the radio just about 14 hours ago. Watercolor sunsets. That's what happened here yesterday. Can't even get through today trying to talk about these birds. So yeah, the birds are feeding on the migratory fish, migratory birds, migratory storms and weather patterns. And the Tuesdays are good if you can get them has to do with the high pressure systems that are generally here on a Tuesday in the weather rhythm of 2025. And now today, it is not exactly a single high. We are on the divide. Here's the surface map this afternoon with a front coming across southern New England. There's a real strong new high pressure system coming out of Canada up around 1034 millibars. And then we have the old high pressure system that's been bringing our warm to record warm air over West Virginia, also with some rain there near West Virginia, and dual fronts. One front is pushing south through New England, and the other old front, it's happened so many times, has stalled near the mid-Atlantic states where there was more flooding yesterday. Flash flooding happening near Virginia Beach, and this really doesn't have anything to do with Imelda or Umberto. I think maybe they're contributing to some of the high clouds and some of the moisture, but I think even without either of those storms, we would be looking at flooding over the mid-Atlantic states and saying, oh, there goes another storm off to the south of New England. That's been happening all season long, and we've had more rain in southern New England this summer into early fall than in northern New England, which is pretty unusual. Usually it goes the other way. All right, you want to hear loud noises. It looks like there is a truckload of boulders that is about to be dumped. And this is often how we wake in the morning to the sound of boulders. Oh, he's backing up a little bit more. Maybe they'll be pulled out piece by piece. So you know what's going on here. We call it the Weymouth Big Dig, and the construction crew, Luciano Excavation, is building a concourse from Wessagusset Beach to George Lane Beach. Locals call it the Old Beach, Wessagusset. And the New Beach, George Lane Beach. And that's the concourse. There's my shadow. That's the Old Beach. It's low tide. It's gorgeous. Where's the wind, Tim? If the strong high pressure system's coming in, where is the wind? What is wind? Wind is air moving from high to low pressure. But when you have a high to your north and a high to your south, often you're going to have a lull between the two gradients. And that's what we have today, as there are not too many isobars over southern New England. But the new high from that direction is going to move in that direction, and the air is going to come in this direction. And we are going to have gusts of 30 to 40 miles an hour, pretty close to Boston and certainly Cape Cod tomorrow, having to do with the pressure gradient between dual hurricanes and the strong high in southeastern Canada. Let's look at the satellite image this morning. There are the dual hurricanes. Umberto is down to a category 2, and Imelda is up to a category 1, just becoming a hurricane this morning, and they're expected to cross paths. Well, not necessarily. Umberto is supposed to stay in the lead, and then Imelda, the ice storm, is expected to cross over where Umberto misses Bermuda to the west. Imelda is trying to go in a straight line right over Bermuda as perhaps a category 2 hurricane tomorrow or the day after. And you want to see something really interesting? Well, there's so much to talk about. How about the sea state? I have a litany of things I want to talk about. The sea state from the Ocean Prediction Analysis Ocean Prediction Center analysis shows 13. See that number 13? That is the sea state in meters. 13 meters, 42.6 to be exact, foot seas at the center of Hurricane Umberto. Now, Umberto is weakening, but now you have the magnification of the swell, because we're also going to have a swell, and whether they resonate or attenuate is hard to say, from Imelda. So we have dual hurricane swells coming at us. Very rare event. And the numbers, once you get up to southern New England, looking like 1 to 2 to 3. Now, those are meters. And so the buoy report at Block Island, off south of Block Island this morning, was already up to 5 foot, a 5 foot swell. So that happens a lot, but not with a 17-second period. That is a groundswell. So that period forecast from a few days ago turns out accurate. And there's the warmwinds.com cam this morning. And every time one of the big waves came in, I saw it just kind of close out, and all the surfers had to duck dive and go through the wave. So I didn't see too many people catching a wave, but I'm certain that there are a lot of people trying today. And it's only today, this morning, without the wind. So the wind's really going to get on it tonight and tomorrow. And it's going to be an offshore wind there in Rhode Island. So Narragansett Town Beach may still be good, but like Cape Cod National Seashore is going to be taking a beating. But on Thursday afternoon and Friday, the wind's going to go away again. So you want to see the wind forecast? Now, this is the tropical sector from the Euro model, and it's really disturbing that in the United States, we do not use the metric system because it makes so much more sense. It's so much easier, but not pontificating now. The gold is hurricane force wind, and these are gusts now, and I take the forecast through 18Z. I'm stopping it here. There's the time in the upper left, 18Z. Subtract 4, that's 1400 o'clock. Subtract another 12, that's 2 p.m. tomorrow. So you got to do a time conversion. And the 80 kph over Cape Cod, it's where I put the cursor. 80 kilometers per hour is pretty close to 50 miles per hour. So we may have some 50 mile per hour gusts pretty close to Cape Cod and the islands, and you can see that kind of color there, that reddish color extending from off of Maine right through Nantucket. Will probably gust to about 50 miles an hour on Nantucket from the northeast, and then all the way down to the shores of North Carolina, north through Virginia and New Jersey, Long Island. That's an offshore wind, though, at the south coast, and then it's an onshore wind, so high surf advisories and rip currents and all that, but they don't put those out, those kind of warnings out so much this time of year, but sometimes they do. Okay, so not only do we have an excavator, we get this barge. It's really moving. Now, barge doesn't have an engine. It's a work barge. It's got a pusher. Donald Peacock, what are those pushers called? You told me once and I forgot the name. Speaking of Donald Peacock, what's the tall ship Lynx doing for this storm, where it left Nantucket Harbor for Woods Hole when Aaron went by? I don't think we're going to have the kind of wind from Aaron, but we're going to have a similar sea state, but it's going to last a shorter duration. The Lynx is in dry dock. It just had its Coast Guard inspection of the outside, and this is when you have to take it out of the water. And I don't know what you were doing with that drill gun there. Donald, what are you doing? You're not sabotaging it? Oh no, is that a screw gun? Sorry, it's not a drill gun. Captain Peacock says, yeah, we're going to stay put here in Portland, Maine, going back in the water, and we'll be back on Nantucket after Melda and Umberto do their thing and go by. Well, Donald, I don't know if you're going to like what you see in the forecast for day 10 here coming up next week, because there's been some change to the Euro guidance. So why don't we get to the Euro guidance? I mean, so much else to talk about. You can see that on your local weather. I try and do stuff that other people aren't talking about. Like the temperature this morning was in the 50s, it was very comfortable, and the dew point is down, and this front is kind of a dry faux pas. So let's fast forward now to tomorrow morning, and I'm going to take the forecast from the Euro beginning 12Z Wednesday, because this is where we've been stopping it and talking about the pressure gradient. And at 1.4 or 5 days ago, it looked like a 97 millibar pressure gradient between the high to our north and the storms to our south. And now it looks more like a, let's see, 1033 high, and you don't have the red number at the center of Umberto. It didn't show up, so it's about a 970. So that's 33 plus 30. That's about a 66 millibar pressure gradient between the two storms. And note the packing of the black lines over New England. That's a very tight gradient for us also. So that means that we are going to be some of the strongest winds will be right here over the south coast. I mean, away from the hurricanes anyway, because you can see the tightness on those black lines. All right, now let's put it in motion. And the two storms look like they disappear off the map. They do, but wait, it looks like they're wrapping around and into one another. Come on, as that high comes into the north from New Canada to New England. Wait a minute, let's do a different perspective on this. Is it going to be a Fujiwara interaction where the two storms wrap into one another? The National Hurricane Center forecast track that we saw a few minutes ago did not have that. But look at this Euro. It does. It has Umberto slowing down, Imelda speeding up, and then it looks like Imelda consumes Umberto. They wrap around and become one single storm. Post-tropical cyclones, Umberto and Imelda become one and dance off into the North Atlantic toward Europe, according to the Euro. I think that's the only guidance that's doing that, but that was entertaining, wasn't it? That's called the Fujiwara effect, and there were some people making headlines with that possibility near the United States for today. Incidentally, today was the day that many forecasters, including the National Hurricane Center, had Imelda within 100 miles of the South Carolina coast, likely making landfall, and perhaps at one point even bringing remnant rain to New England. Well, that's not the case anymore. All right, back to that Euro. Our weekend is looking delightful. There's the high pressure system coming right across New England with the wind going light and the sun staying out here for our Friday into Saturday. The 564 and the 570 thickness are here, and that means temperatures are going to be warm to record warm, close to 80, and even at the beaches, hopefully there's a leftover swell. There's very little wind, and then that high has a storm generating on the south side of it there over South Carolina and Georgia, more rain there. And what about that potential 2-day snowstorm that we talked about from Monday into Tuesday from Montana and Wyoming? Oh, tease, no snow in Montana. Glad I don't live there. We would have been talking about that for days and said, oh no, it's canceled. But it does still look like some snow for Wyoming. And then that front comes through here about Tuesday into Wednesday. So, we may break that pattern of Tuesdays are good if you can get them. That looks like some rain with that one. And then it goes out to Wednesday, and there's a storm coming up the coast. What is this? Is that a hurricane, tropical cyclone? No, it's just a healthy nor'easter, maybe with some subtropical characteristics here on day 10. That is Thursday, October 9th at 2 p.m. And there's only, it's only about 1,006 or 1,007 millibar low. But look at all those isobars around it. There's not really any strong high, thank goodness. Otherwise, we'd be talking about a real heavy-duty storm, the kind you usually see closer to Halloween than first week of October. But October is usually the month of big storms, and if this happens, that will be setting the pace, perhaps. And we might get one of those to turn into snow the week after that, or after that. Josh Worth, our friend in northern Vermont. All right, I'm stopping with the weather now. I'm shifting gears. I love watching Luciano. He's precise with the movement. Now, what he's doing with that dirt, he's putting it up above the concourse because they're gonna try and stabilize the little concourse right there on top of the boulders. Oh no, he's just extending his platform. That's what he's doing. Sorry, he's just making a high spot for him to work from as they go around the corner there. All right, Josh Worth lives in Montgomery, Vermont, and yesterday we gave a pessimistic, because Josh is so emotional. He cancels winter every time it rains in the middle of winter. He says, the winter's over, and he's kind of pessimistic, and he said, oh, the foliage is over, it's over. But then he sends these shots yesterday morning. Thank you, Josh, for sharing with us. And he's much more optimistic. He says, oh, it looks a little better today, Tim. So you get the color right there, and that's Montgomery, Vermont, up near Jay Peak, looking beautiful. Never cancel a foliage season. Last thing you'd want would be a hurricane to rip through New England. That would be a bummer. But coastal areas, the leaves are still green, so we'll endure these storms and the big wind tomorrow, and we will have nice foliage in about 5 or 6 weeks. Meantime, head north this weekend for peak foliage there near J Peak, and it is October 1st, after all, here within 24 hours, less than that now. So that was part of the and more. What else? Coming out here yesterday, I break for insects. We'll talk to some insects on my flowers, and I thought we were done with the sunset, with that cloud coming in. We'll pontificate on that cloud that came in that's still here, that the sun is shining through now, which is not from Imelda, even though on the satellite image it looks like it was. Look what happened there as the sun went down. After the sun went down, I thought we were done, but we're never done. That is a result of the sun illuminating the bottom of the cloud after the sun had gone over the horizon. And millions of people from Maine to Florida saw the same exact kind of sunset because this cloud extends from Maine to Florida. So it's called out the door weather and more. We call it yesterday's weather today. T-Rex was inside, stretching it out, and already had gone to bed early. All right, yesterday's weather today and more. And more, 10:30 in the morning on a Monday, back to work Monday we call it. And I love that machine right there. Goes along, zips along the ground and up on the sides of the trees. The thing's awesome. Just about noon, I was coming out to see Steve, and he was in the shadow. Now he's in the sun again. But it's warm enough that he was shading himself from the sun few minutes ago. We talked about that pollen from the cedar tree. Pollen all over the place. Steve's gonna be all polleny. Match. Oh, look at that cloud. Another wave on the front to our south. That's kind of serious, doesn't it? It's not gonna rain. It's fascinating though. The edge of this cloud stretches from southern New England all the way back into West Virginia or so. And to the north, not even a cloud in the sky, and glassy at noontime. A little sea breeze developing right now. You can see it on the water right here. A few people at the beach, one person swimming. Roger that. 1:30, beauty. I like to get these barges. Looking at the northern edge of the cloud, which is pretty close to now the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border, and there's light onshore wind, so Logan Airport in the low 70s, but the Merrimack Valley, where the sun is full away from the ocean, is 80 degrees again today. Record challenging warmth. And this cloud is just a result of even warmer air trying to come in from the south. A little bit of a front just falling apart right over southern New England right now. Do what we're calling summer 2.0. Go Sox. Well, time for Live at 5. A lot of lines in the water out there in the channel. That boat looks like it has a little water in it. So the fish are still biting. Planes appear to be taking off toward the east. Very light flow from the east over the water, and then that looks like we're from the west here. Look at those boats all in that flag. Westerly breeze here, so very weak sea breeze front today. And this cloud, the view from space, looks like it wraps all the way into, whoa, see that? Tropical Storm Imelda. But I think even without Tropical Storm Imelda, we would have this same cloud with the old front stalled. And as we see in the time lapse in a few minutes, that this cloud coming up from the west-southwest. So that's the wind way up in the sky, the steering currents, which are so weak over Imelda right now, but are gonna take it out to sea. Lots of things going on in the yard here. Look at those holes. Not sure what those ones are. We got the insects. I break for insects and roses. Can you see an insect down there? How about now? What's going on? Seen better days, huh? And in inverted dragonfly. Kind of sad. What is it, Rex? You just want to be on the show? You see the bees on the Montauk's? You can see about 4 bees right this second. Tasty. Spreading the love. Making some honey somewhere, aren't you? I know very little about bees. I like to watch them though. There was another kind here a second ago. More orangey. Tomatoes are wilting a little faster than I'd like to see. A little bit of blight, all that rain over the last couple weeks. It also causes your tomatoes to split. So I get more tomatoes than I can eat. And then the lettuce, separate that out. Lettuce going to seed. A lot of times you can get new lettuce to pop up just from the seed from last year. It's one of my goals sometimes. What are you catching, Andrew? What do you got? What are you catching? Steve, what do you got? Get away. There's a black-capped chickadee up in the pussy willow. But I think he was looking at something like a mouse or a mole. Steve, Scott Andrews is in Meriden, Connecticut, more than 100 miles away, also seeing a sundog. Everyone gets their own individual sundog. Scott says he's got 2 rainbow pearls on either side of the sun. They're in Meriden, Connecticut, more than 100 miles away. Different rainbow pearl, same dynamic, same grouping of clouds. That's a good description. Technically we call them part of the optical phenomena of the halo family. Refraction of sunlight off of 6-sided ice crystals suspended in the cirrus cloud. Almost certainly be able to make that out in the time lapse near the end of the day with our sun just barely still visible at sunset here as the solar declination continues into autumn. We lose our sun behind that tree and then these houses, and eventually it goes left of the Four River Bridge around Halloween or so. Do you hear piano music? Yeah, so that's the end for today. The time lapse really interesting. Look at the texture right this second. All these different shades and swirls, condensation trails, conditional instability. Here's the time lapse from Weymouth. Total blue sky and that cirrus shield that extends all the way down around Imelda, but really not due to Imelda. I think we'd have it regardless because of all the stalled fronts we've had going south of New England and then just kind of decaying very slowly from Virginia to Florida. And that leaves us where we are right now. Very comfortable. A lot of spots hit 80 again today. Cooler air gradually comes in over the next 24 hours from north to south. Getting a little bit windy. Hopefully just a little bit windy. I know, a long-winded weatherman. Appreciate your viewership. Post-sunset bonus over Boston. Never know what's going to happen after the sun goes down. Oh my goodness. Once again, thanks for watching. Your viewership is appreciated. And Mother Nature outdoing herself day after day. More and more and more. That's a wrap. to you tomorrow.